Hi, it's Kay from Harcourts again. So today I thought we'd just go over the sale and purchase agreement, this wonderful document here. So this is a legal document and is drawn up by the Auckland Law Society and the Real Estate Institute. Now, since I started, it's become very, very purchaser friendly. When I started, it was always more, I thought, the owner got the money and the buyer got the can of worms, but there is many, many clauses in all of here that is very purchaser friendly. So when you first decide that you want to make an offer, when you meet up with your real estate agent, and I'm going to lean in now, you will be given one of these that we must give you by law, which basically says speak to your lawyer, speak to your lawyer, speak to your lawyer. And then we will do out the sale and purchase agreement. The main thing then that your agent will give you is this purchaser acknowledgement form, which is all to do with the Anti-Money Laundering and Overseas Investment Act. So we want your full details. We must put your lawyer down there and you tick all the boxes and sign it. And then we move on to this. So this is actually the 10th edition. So it gets updated all the time, and every clause that goes in there, your agent will be able to talk to you about where it fits in and what added value it is to you and what protections that you're getting. So the date on it, that is the last thing that gets filled in. So, and that's what we do once we get an agreement from yourself as the purchaser and also from the vendor. So if we email it to you and with instructions of how to fill it in, if that's your preference, rather than meeting up with us or with your lawyer, please do not date it. The number of times that we have to go back and get you to cross it out and initial. So you'll see it's already, because we're super efficient, it's already filled out with the vendor's names that we have got off the certificate of title. So this is the deed of the property. This is the legal description. Titles are king, and that's when you look on here and we take their names and we fill it in. Purchaser, this is where we're going to fill your full name, so we mean your middle name as well, and or nominee. So if you're a husband and wife, but only your husband, you being the husband, is able to be here, your solicitor can add you in come settlement date, or if you want to put it into a trust or a company or anything like that. It's residential property, so it'll be 0 rated for GST, and then when we get down to here to the property, so we put the address and then the estate. Fee simple, which is freehold, so that is the best real estate in New Zealand. So you're buying the land and the dwelling. Again, we've got it off the title, and it very well might be a leasehold or cross lease. Your agent can talk to you about that, as well as like a unit title. And then we go down into the land area, which again is copied off the title, the legal description, and the certificate of title number here. So we marry it up. So this is the parcel of land that you're buying. Then we move down, we fill in the purchase price. So king hit is what we always aim for. You want the property, you don't want to miss out. Deposit, it's normally 10% of the purchase price. Again, a conscientious agent will ask you, how are you getting the deposit? We're not prying, we want to do the best for you. So if you're using your KiwiSaver, the chances are you'll be writing down a nil deposit, or you might be wanting the balance from the sale of your property. You might not have 10%, so you might put $20,000 down. We can do that. It's a gesture of goodwill that you'll be there on settlement date. And that's when we get down here and we put a possession date. And it's always, we've got 15% for late settlement. Now that is on you as a purchaser if you're not able to come up with the funds on settlement date, as well as the vendor if they're not able to grant you clear title. And that will cover some moving costs. You might have to go into a hotel and whatever other ramifications that would be incurred by late settlement. So it's going to protect you as well. Finance, we get down here into the conditions. Yes, we write maybe 5 working days from the date here on. It could then put a limb, so we always supply one, but again your lawyer might want to get a new one, and we write yes. And then in the body of the contract, it's actually written up that it's going to be 15 working days. That's really drawn up for Auckland. In Dunedin, we would cross that out and put 10 working days. So that gives you time to get one and time to read it. Builder's report, again, in the body of the contract, it says 15 working days. We normally here, we would change that to 10. Toxicology, do you want to have a meth test? Are you concerned about that? Overseas Investment Land Act consent as well over here. And then we always write for tenancies. If it is tenanted, we put as per attached tenancy, or if it's owner occupied and they're going to move out, we just make sure that everybody knows vacant possession, so that they've got to get out and no tenants encumbered there. So then we would probably ask you to initial the bottom of every page, and that's more to say that nothing's been changed, that you know that we haven't added or deleted any of the clauses. We can stop and go over all the clauses. The main ones in there are any work that the vendor has done, caused or permitted to be done has got a permit, and also that the chattels will be in reasonable working order when you take them over. So the chattels are all in Schedule 2, where we list them, all of what's going to stay with the property. So come that week leading up to your settlement, you're entitled to a final inspection. So we go in to make sure they haven't had any wild parties that we haven't been invited to, as well as we turn on the heat pump, we turn on the oven, and making sure that everything's working when you move in there. And the main one that's now in all the agreements is the COVID clause, which if we go into a level where personal movement is not allowed, settlement date will then be transferred to 5 working days after we're allowed to do that. So your agent will ask you to initial all the things that you are adding in, like the price and the clauses, and that's more to say, yes, I'm happy to pay that, yes, I want a limb, yes, I want a builder's report. The vendor comes and goes along and initials to say, yes, I'm happy to accept that, yes, I'm okay to get their builder's report. Initial all the bottom, get all the way through, nice big signatures on the back, and then all of the your contact details and your solicitor. So there's no such thing as a verbal offer. It's got to be a written document. And then if you are submitting that, we take it to the vendor and we might have some negotiations back and forth, but it'll always be on this written document. And then once we've got an agreement on everything, that's when we come along and we date it here and at the back. And then we are legally bound to immediately dispatch to you and your solicitor, the vendor and the vendor solicitor, a copy of this, as well as send the original in the post. So there's nothing too scary, and we would love to help you fill one of these in at any time. I hope you found this of some help.